Hi, my name's Chloe, if you didn't know that already, and so my ethical argument problem is that students across America aren't receiving a proper education. And that's a really big problem, because it's America's job to provide an education to students, and students aren't receiving a proper one. So I think the main thing that causes this is that there is unequal education funding in America. This is the biggest problem. Um, that goes with the big problem. Um, so if some schools do not have the appropriate staff and tools to provide students with so they can succeed, and that's because that they're not receiving the proper funding. So, if a school doesn't have the proper funding, then they're not going to be able to buy the tools that students need to succeed, as well as buy the staff, the appropriate staff that they need. And that all comes from the proper education thing. Some schools have very bad staff. I'll leave it at that. So the way school funding now works is that throughout America, there are school districts, they're placed in communities, and in that district's property tax goes towards the schools. So if the school district is located in a very wealthy community, then the property tax is going to be high, and there's going to be a lot of funding for that school. If the school is in a low income area, then property tax is going to be low because the homes are going to be low quality and low income. So property tax will be low, and then those schools will get less money than the higher end. And that's problematic because those schools show to have a big achievement gap. So I've created my own solution to this problem. So the way I see it is, although I don't have the biggest understanding of how exactly the government works, I think that the property tax from every community in America needs to come to one centralized place, aka the government, and then be split out evenly to each school district. So that way it's not based on property tax anymore. All money's being pooled and distributed. So that will lower education standards for some of the higher end. They're going to get less money, essentially, maybe, possibly, but it's going to equalize and level the playing field throughout in education throughout America. So right now we have this thing called Title I funding. Title I is the goal. Oh, here. The goal of Title I is to support disadvantaged students in achieving academic excellence and to close the achievement gap between disadvantaged and students from high socioeconomic backgrounds. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Sounds amazing. The schools with disadvantaged students get more money. Woo! Great. Okay. Title I has not helped to close the achievement gap. Despite billions of dollars and more than 40 years of legislation, it's done nothing. Okay, so, unfortunately, the way our government is, when Title I is apportioned, something happens between the local and state governments where the money gets fuzzy and it winds up not apportioning to anything. It increases per pupil amount, per pupil funding by like nothing, because the way funding works, it's like by per pupil. That's besides the point. So, you may be asking yourself, what is student achievement? Which is a very good question. Student achievement measures the amount of academic content a student learns in a determined amount of time. So, essentially, those standardized tests we've been taking at the end of each year for 12, well, in Virginia it's SOLs, that you start taking in like third grade. I know we all hate them and everything, but the only thing that they're trying to see is if we've achieved anything, if our teachers have taught us anything, and if they have, then we should be able to pass that test. So that is how you measure student achievement usually. So first off, our current plan to fix the proper education problem isn't working, as I've announced that some schools are receiving less funding. So my plan will level the playing field and give every student, in theory, the same education. It will provide every student with a proper education, and it will also comply with the No Child Left Behind Act. Through my research, I actually found a case study from Taiwan that provided equal education, equal funding through all of its districts, and so my plan, they essentially implemented my plan, and it equalized educational resources, and it didn't cost extra money. So it didn't cost extra money, which is important because this government is in debt. So my plan for equalizing education, I feel like it would be hard, and it would have kinks, probably, as everything does, and it would take time, but I think in the end that's what this country needs for a proper education. So that is all. Thank you.